And welcome back. We are on second to last of the Netflix series now. I've now just started Jessica Jones season 3. I'm engaged with it, but we're not talking about that. We'll save that for next week. I'm already on episode 4, so I'll probably get done with it well before next Monday. Punisher season 2. Now I've been on record, and maybe I'll do a worst to best video at some point about the Netflix series when I'm all said and done with them. I did the Punisher video a while back, and I mentioned how, to me, the Netflix Marvel series, the best stuff they ever did was both the Daredevil season 1 through 3, fantastic, loved it, easily number 1, and right below that was Punisher season 1, and then I got done with Punisher season 2. Now I will say this, at least in my personal opinion, Punisher season 2 is not as good as season 1. But that doesn't mean it's not damn good. There's still a lot to be like just take in and be like, wow. My girlfriend was also catching up on it, watching it, and she commented that there was like, I don't want to stop making my brain think. I just want a fantastic choreography, gore, and all this stuff because the Punisher. I've noted that. Well, Daredevil definitely had the best choreography of any fights. Punisher went for the brutality. Man, did he go for it in spades. But that said, that's not all the Punisher series is. It's about a man who is broken, is hurting, trying to find peace in life through whatever means possible, ultimately becoming the Punisher. Season 2 opened up with Frank. The first episode of season 2 is maybe the best episode in the entire season. Because it's Frank just living a life now. Because he got pardoned, basically. He got a new lease on life. He's now Pete Castiglione. I can't pronounce his last name. And I've heard it several times. It's an Italian last name. But basically, and we open to him just in this bar, and hey, it answered the question. Does Frank get laid off? He does. He actually meets a woman. He meets a bartender. They hit it off. They hook up. She's got a kid, but he's doing well with the kid too. He could see, in theory, there is maybe potential here for a new start. He even mentions to Kurt later on when they're staking out Billy Russo that there was a girl, Billy, and she was a good one, Billy, and I got her shot and all that. So ultimately she got her shot. That entire bar sequence in the first episode, fighting me and Bob and McGee. Oh my God. I mean, I got to rewatch season 1. I want to do that. I don't think I'd rewatch season 2 in its entirety, but I would rewatch season 2's episode just for that bar scene. It's like, oh my God, it's just dodging gun. Oh my God, it was awesome. It really was. And then, you get into the main plot with this kid who doesn't actually have any, I don't believe she had anything. I think she had photos or information that led to some incriminating photos about a senator who was gay, and it wasn't the senator that they were trying to blackmail. It was like the senator's parents and their name, and they're these weird conservative religious people. And then you got the subplot of Billy Russo, who's now Jigsaw, and his therapist, and then Madani and then the girls sub. And one of the big problems I found in this season, for all as much as I liked it, and I really did like it, was they were really shoving a lot in there a lot of it's spillover from the first season where it's Madani dealing with PTSD. Frank's getting drawn back into the fray. Sure, Kurt being drawn back. Kurt has a bigger role in this season, which I'm really thankful, because I love Kurt. I love the actor who plays him. So you have that going on. Billy's the loose end's still not tied up. It's a lot, and for the most part, he does balance it pretty well. But I will say this: there are aspects of these stories that I just like. Oh God, can we just move on? The kid gets better throughout the season, but she starts out real. Like when Frank basically says when these cops kind of confront, say, "You're tying her to the bed," say, "She's ungrateful," and I'm like, yeah. As much as Frank is kind of being a dick, tying her to the bed so she won't escape, she really is being an ungrateful bit of like a ungrateful little crap. Like, I get it. She's supposed to represent kind of this generation a little bit, or whenever her generation is. And it comes out a little bit like talking about talking about her anti-violence stance and all that. When ultimately she does have to pull a gun on someone and shoot someone. And yeah, there's a scene, and my girlfriend even agreed with me 100% on this, that it was just so stupid on her part. That her hitting Kurt, because they're hiding out like a camper, like a mobile home. And they get back from like a gunfight, and Frank had been teaching her how to disarm someone. And she sneaks up on him after the fact, tries to take his gun, and he flips out. Now, he might have slightly overreacted, like putting a hot gun near to her face, firing the gun off and scaring the crap out of her. But apart from maybe going a little overboard in how he reacted, in terms of how severely he reacted, his reaction was 100% justified. That was one of the dumbest things she could have done. First off, knowing the man she is with right now. And after what they more or less went through, trying to take the gun from him was one of the... I get it. She is I think they say she's either 15 or 16. She is a teenager. But I have some there's a level of common sense that this kid did not have for a while. Luckily, she gets it near the end, and it's a nice, what Frank could have had with his daughter if she had been her age kind of moments there. So it's good. It's nice. The other problem I had, biggest problem I had, at least from just story plot, was Madani. Now, Madani, again, like the girl, improves as the season goes on. She doesn't hit the same level of Madani we had in the first season. Madani in the first season was someone who you liked, despite the fact she clearly had a certain level of almost arrogance to her, but not quite there. She was a likable character. But she was a character who clearly was experienced, was capable of what she did, but had also not been through the shit. She had yet to truly experience how badly life could hit you and how badly it will mess you up. And then she met Frank and Billy Russo, and she got a life lesson in that. The problem comes is that, in essence, they kind of make her out to be suffering from what Frank allegedly suffers from as well, where because of getting shot in the head or the trauma he suffered, he's constantly seeing the death of his family anytime he sleeps or something like that. Because she got shot in the head and the trauma's there, she's constantly remembering Billy Russo. So she keeps walking in to his bed, or like to his room, and hovers like every day, wanting him to like break this facade she thinks he's put on, when in actuality he is legitimately that effed up. He's legitimately that traumatized that he does not remember what he did, but she constantly thinks he did, and she keeps thinking he's pulling a wool over all their eyes, and he's telling this to his therapist's face that she doesn't know. It's like, you don't know him. It's like, he's playing you off. Like, and the therapist, we'll get to that plot point, even points out, like, you really think I'm that bad at my job that I wouldn't be able to figure that out? And then Madani has to kind of shut up from that, like, yeah. It's like, yeah, Madani, shut up. I get it. No, you don't get shut up. I get it. He messed you. He screwed you up. He turned you inside out, literally and figuratively. But he completely upended your world. Would you so far, Madani? He's like, okay, yeah. And this is me having a conversation. But guess what? That doesn't make you the expert. So shut up. Get out of here. If something changes, they'll let you know. Because she didn't have any jurisdiction there. She kept basically, she shot Mahoney accidentally. Not to be fair, he did not announce himself. So, whatever. But he still shot him. She still shot him. She ends up effing up the therapist later on, but to be fair, she was in the right on that one. Like I said, she does improve later on, particularly in the last episode. She finally kind of gets her catharsis, and she's then working with the CIA at the end. So I didn't mind how both the girl, again, I think her name's Rachel, maybe, the girl and Madani's stories ultimately ended. They just started out terrible. Then you have to juggle the whole plot point of Billy Russo coming back. And I'll admit this. It went back and forth with me. Like, my girlfriend didn't like the whole idea that he was kind of becoming like the anarchist type character, kind of almost a Joker-esque, trying to uproot the system. To me, I didn't quite see it like that completely. I didn't understand where she was coming from, but I didn't understand that completely. Or see that completely. I saw it more like he's completely lost everything he had, power, money, women, Frank, family, whatever. And now he's trying to get that back. It's not the same principle, just causing anarchy for anarchy. He had a brotherhood, and then he basically, was actually able, surprisingly, to find love again. And where I will get into a complaint is the minute, I'm not joking, not even the minute, the second, like 20 seconds on the screen for this character of his therapist, like, oh, she's pretty attractive. I'm like thinking, like, oh, she's attractive. Who's his action? And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to be banging by the end of this. Yep. And sure enough, it's not even Stockholm syndrome. That's the weird thing. I'm not certain what the deal was with that therapist character. Like, she wasn't necessarily inherently evil, but she wasn't good. So I don't understand what the plot point of that. I get it. They fell in love through their mutual experiences with pain. Russo's face is really not as messed up as I would think, by the way. For someone who's supposed to be Jigsaw, like, say what you will about Punisher Warzone, that guy was Jigsaw. This is like, well, he's definitely got like scars all over his face, but I wouldn't call him Jigsaw. So I get it. They bond on a mutual pain, all that, but and like the scene where she's like putting a letter opener through his hand, and he barely flinches. Okay, interesting. That's hot, I guess. But still, there's a point where I'm rooting for them, because despite the fact they are both effed up in the head, they clearly actually had love for each other. Like when she gets thrown out the window and luckily survives, amazingly, you can see that he goes full on, I'm going to kill you for what you did to her. He actually was able to find someone who loved him for him, even despite everything. Obviously, Madani wasn't going to be that person for him, and he wasn't probably looking for that with Madani. So I did find it weirdly compelling, but I just found it a very weird story plot point to begin with. And though honestly, and I don't know if my girlfriend watched it. If we're watching this review, I don't know if you got into the final episode yet. That's the ending of Russo's story really came together. I'll save that for let's talk about the end of the season, because as much as I love that this season did have faults, but for all its faults, the season finale and series finale, I guess, really wrapped things up in a nice bow. It really tied it all together. Before we get into one other real story point, just want to talk about the action. Again, the action is, Daredevil has the better choreography, no doubt about that. But Punisher clearly has the better brutality. Like, the fight, when you watch Punisher, you're seeing people get effed up. That gym fight, oh man, just beating a guy's face in with a freaking weight. I don't even know, I couldn't even tell how heavy that weight was, probably like a 45-pounder or something like that. So he's just boom, boom, boom. Oh man, it was brutal. And then he just comes in, says, did things go well? And just like, all right. I honestly did, like, there's good moments of humor in this season too, where, like, I love that scene where she basically took Madani's credit card, if I'm not mistaken, bought a whole bunch of stuff. You can't just do that. It's like, is that a pie from, and I can't remember the pizza place. It's like, yeah, mushroom and sausage. Holy shit. He's just like, yes. I like how, too, she's showing him 3-card Monty. And basically the point is that Guy is the perfect game to con guys with, because they think they can beat the house. Honestly, unless you literally got a trained eye for that kind of stuff, the only way to beat 3-card Monty is through sheer luck. Because if you don't have a trained eye for it, never focus on the queen. Well, focus on where you think the queen is, and then choose one of the other ones, and you have a 50-50 shot of winning. That's the way it is. Because unless you are trained at keeping your eye, unless you know how to keep your eye on the queen, you're not going to beat 3-card Monty. But that's the trick. It's a 50-50 shot where the queen's going to be, if you go with the other two options. So, good luck with that. So anyway. The action, they didn't do as many action sequences as I remember in the first one, if I remember correctly. Let's see, there's the one in the warehouse where he's getting the crap kicked out of him by all Russo's guys. The one in the beginning, there's a good car chase sequence and firefights in the street. There's the end fight with the, there's some pretty solid fights overall in the season with the Pilgrim. And let's talk about the Pilgrim. which is what this character's name is. Apparently it's like John Pilgrim or something like that. The character always stayed interesting to me. I will admit, I never saw him as a threat to Frank, really. Like, I get this guy, he got out of the life he didn't want anymore, fell in love, had a family, all that great stuff. But to be fair, I never, and it's clear he was a capable fighter. Like, he was a dangerous guy. But I really never saw him as a threat to Frank. Like, Frank is very rarely at 100%. And it's similar to Matt in season 3 of Daredevil, where Matt's never at 100%. Frank is for the most part never truly at 100% in this season. Like, he's at 100% in the bar fight in the beginning. After that, he's pretty much just recovering. Even after he gets his hand fixed up, he's still recovering throughout the entire season. So, yeah, he's never really at 100%. And even then, he's kicking so much ass. He kicks this guy's ass eventually. I love that fight they have at the end, too, where Frank's going to shoot him. Turns out there was no bullets in there. He starts beating the crap out of Frank. They need to take a moment. And they wrap stuff. I think he wraps a chain around his arms. You need a moment. I was waiting for you. And then he just beats the crap out of Frank. Or no, Frank just beats the crap out of him. I will say that the whole plot involving him, the people who hired him, and the senator, their son who was gay. I don't know. I get that Frank's villains are probably the most realistic of villains when it comes to the Netflix series. Because you look at Daredevil, he's fighting Kingpin might be a little unrealistic. Might be the most unrealistic thing he's done. Fighting like a crime lord. But like fighting the hand ninjas, obviously not very realistic. Assassin like Bullseye, no one is that well trained. So kind of unrealistic. Jessica Jones fights superpowered individuals most of the time. On someone like Kilgrave, her mother. Now I'm watching season 3. She looks like she's going after a killer. Hers can fall within the realm of realism a little bit. Obviously, Danny Rand, the Hand, didn't know. Luke Cage, to some extent, yes, he does fight like the gangsters of Harlem and the crime in Harlem. But again, you get these individuals who are superpowered to some degree, be it Bushmaster with actual superhuman abilities, or his brother who had superhuman tech. And then the Defenders fought the Hand. But Frank, he fought corrupt CIA officials. Now he's fighting corrupt, like, high political family. So, yeah, his are the most realistic, and I get that. I don't know. For me, it really wasn't the most compelling of it. Like, for the most part, these two, like, this wife and husband are mostly just doing nothing. Like, they never interact with Frank at all, period. Even Pilgrim interacted with Frank to some degree. Russo, obviously. I can't remember the bald guy who he ends up killing, the CIA guy. But yeah, him. So, yeah, definitely reacts a little. Definitely, you get some confrontations with them. But you don't see Frank interact with them until the very end of the very end of the season. And I'll admit, it's a great comeuppance for these clearly. They're elitists, is what they are. They're concerned only about their own brand and their own name and all that crap. And seeing Frank get the one up on first shooting his wife, and then it's like, oh, yeah, you can take that gun and shoot yourself, or you can live, but you live with the truth. And basically gives a choice, and he takes his own life. I also like the fact that the Pilgrim story actually ended on a good note for Pilgrim. Like, his wife unfortunately passes of cancer, but he makes out with his boys, and him and Frank have a mutual agreement like that. It's like, just go back to your lives. So I appreciate that. That wraps us up. That brings us to the end where the story is wrapped up, where the Pilgrim story is wrapped up. Rachel goes off. I think her name was Rachel. Kurt still doing his thing. The Billy Russo thing, though, I'll admit, I'm like, I wonder how this is going to play. First, I love the fact that they played the Roosters. They haven't found a way to cure me yet. And because he got shot. He's still alive, bleeding out in a dumpster. And it's like, that's a perfect song for the scenario. And he goes down, calls Chris, I'm dying. And he knows the time's up. His jig is up. He can't keep doing it anymore. It's like, if you could find him in your heart to be a brother one last time. And then Frank comes in. And I'm wondering, okay, is he gonna say anything to Billy? And it's like, it should be you, man. It should be you. It just wasn't it, man. I'm sorry. And then just Frank just unloads a couple shots into him. It's like, nope, I got nothing left to say to you. It's like, because the whole idea of, is Billy still there? Like, does he still have any feelings for Billy left? Clearly, that was the case because he froze. He froze and he saw Billy there. Nope, didn't freeze this time. Just, wanted to say that. I mean, in a sense, you do feel a little bit. I mean, Billy is a psychopath. Clearly, he is a psychopath. But there's a level of tragedy to Billy's story, because especially in this part of the season, because Billy was without his memories for the longest time. He still saw Frank as his brother. He still saw him as his friend and all that. So he still felt genuinely sorry to a certain degree for what he did. It's just all the other Billy Russo traits came to the fold. And then I love the fact that it is Frank finally just, doing what he's doing now as the Punisher. He's got the trench coat. He's got the skull vest on. Just, I'll dance with you. I love Jon Bernthal's just deep, gruff voice. I think I said this maybe, was it with my Punisher review? If I could totally have seen Jon Bernthal playing Batman at some point. The problem is I couldn't see him playing a Bruce Wayne because I don't know if he could disguise his voice them. He's got a great Batman voice. He does. And he's built too. And man, you want to talk about the rage-filled Batman? He could do that in spades. But the problem is I don't think he could pull a convincing Bruce Wayne off. That's the real problem. He's a good-looking guy. He's not a pretty boy. I don't see him as a playboy. Although when you watch like Ford v Ferrari where he plays Ayatollah, he definitely has that kind of charm to him, that charisma where, yeah, I could maybe see it, but again, the problem is just, frankly, it's his voice. Perfect Batman voice. Not a very good Bruce Wayne voice, because I don't think he could really change his voice. He's got a very naturally deep, gruff voice. Anyway, though, I digress. So while this season did have problems, I gotta say, I still very thoroughly enjoyed it. What did you think of Season 2 of Punisher, though, if you've seen it? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Hit that bell if you want notifications. That's it for today. I am going to pre-record my Atlantic Corps video just because work and all that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, folks. Have a good one.